it's gonna look. All right, here we go. Oh, my daughter, of course, right? Hey, what up, y'all? Okay, we are live. One moment though, hold up. Yes, daughter. Yes. Say what? Um, the one that's hold on. Hey, everybody, what's up? We are live with Fatjack in Las Vegas. We're gonna put on some music and we're gonna start with music. Do this Fatjack hook up. I was really bugging off that Pigeon John. That I hadn't heard that in a long time. I know I'm spelling it wrong, but it's still gonna come up. Just the one that's the credit union one, okay? One that says credit union. What? 2K, I cannot do this right now.
Boy raised out in Inglewood, I'd always get jacked by the pyros in my neighborhood. They take my milk money, but couldn't touch my soul. And now I'm here to collect. Boy, get ready, set, go. In a minute, I'ma get up in it. Throw your hands up, wave them from side to side. In a minute, I'ma eat my spinach. Windows down, press the gas and go. In a minute, I'ma recollect. Don't look now, Popeye's at your door. In a minute now, if you didn't know, get ready, set, go. You created a monster machine me cause I'm not friendly. Look what you sent me. No love, you hate, trying to bend me, then trying to send me up to creep gently. But I'm Moses, they.
That is nuts. What up, y'all? We are live with Fatjack. We're doing this. What's up, Bert? All right. So as you all know, the legendary Fatjack is here with us right now. And I'm happy to hear and see there's already people talking about what's West Coast Underground Legend. That's right. What's up, Mario? He used to drive the Source truck back in the 90s. I don't know if you remember all that. All right, so LA Sound Control Mob in the house. Shout out DJ Slip. Shout out MC8. Compton's Most Wanted. Have you talked to Slip?
Yeah, we talk. He lives in Germany right now. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Germany. I don't know why I was thinking of that. He's actually in Africa right now.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And he works on the oil rigs out there. Does he's like the guy that controls the robotic arms that repair stuff undersea. He's got a heavy duty job. He's a super smart dude, you know.
Wow. That's incredible. He went from DJing to producing.
He went to school. He went to San Diego State for 3 years.
Wow.
Dropped out just to do music with us. And when music like kind of came to a kind of slow through years of making a lot of stuff with CMW and everything, the music business kind of changed. And he went back to school. And then he also took an electronic class, which he was always good at electronics.
Wow.
And I'm fast forward this real fast. He basically started those competitions where they do the robots that fight. And he built a robot, and a company got at him, asked him if he wanted a job. And he's been doing this, I guess. He got about 15 years now.
Do you hear this?
He's like a super heavy, like super.
So he would have been a STEM student nowadays, or STEAM. Y'all know about STEM, science, technology.
He's a heavy engineer, electronic engineer, repairs robots.
Wow, my son is into that. He's really into STEM. We do it with the Legos. We make Legos move. We're part of the Junior Lego League. We win almost every year.
That's right.
So, all right, for those who jump, everybody knows who you are. Let's stop it. All right, so I want to just give you much love and respect and honor.
Thank you.
Listen, y'all, when I used to come visiting everybody back in the 90s, I literally would ride buses to go visit different crews of people. I go visit the 2000 Crows folks or the Satch people. I forget. Yeah, and so I used to go visit Fatjack and DK Toon, shout out, and Abstract Rude when they were like roommates, you know what I mean? And every time I would come through, they'd always teach me something new. like they'd always put on something, some type of documentary. I remember going and I learned so much about Bob Marley, you know what I'm saying, or just music stuff. I always, yes, always just introduced me to different types of music. So I just wanted to say thank you and what's up. Y'all know how we do around here. It's not anything super just scripted out per se. Of course, I have notes, but it's always about just the interactions and connections and y'all to see the people up front. Yes, yes, yes. Mass Dog. Yeah. Have you seen DK or?
Yeah, we run it. I run it from time to time. He has a restaurant with a relative of his, yeah, with a burger stand, but it's a higher upper level. The way they cook is real special.
What?
Yeah.
Is this where is this? West LA?
So now like by Central and Central 28.
28. Y'all
Central
go
28.
check that out. What's the name?
That I right off the top of my head, I'll give it to you. Maybe you can post it and everything. I just don't remember the name of it right now.
All these gifts and skills of all these people.
Yes, he's doing well.
That's pretty amazing. What about I Smooth 7?
I Smooth 7 he lives with his mother. I don't see him much these days. You know, I don't think he's in the music business anymore, but he still lives with his mother. You know, the story is, Fatjack, I don't know if you remember this. This is how I kind of met you. I met I Smooth 7. First, and I was at the Good Life, shout out, back in '93. And I told him I wanted to get into blending poetry and music together, and he introduced me to you and Slip and your brother, my brother John. Yes, and a bunch of other artists, but I did have the opportunity. Fatjack actually put me on my first recorded poetry song back in like 93, 94. And that's pretty incredible. Yes. Fatjack has helped me also throughout the years, y'all. One time I had a deal with Boys to Men, y'all. And it's just a bunch, man. I remember you just always been so helpful. And I really give thanks. You know, I really appreciate you. Our little family or our circle. A lot of people don't know that though. I don't think they really know. We have the sisters us down with the brothers that we all had a musical, you know, family. I used to go to Fatjack's when he had little babies crawling around. That's now they got babies. Dang, yeah, they used to. I remember I can't remember baby. You remember Gino? Gino, yeah. Gino, he used to crawl around. He got 2 kids. That's wild. I've seen you remember my nephew first born? Yes. He's a lawyer now. Yeah, I see. I catch up with everybody, all the family. The Clark family has been so just welcoming to me throughout the years. Y'all reach out to me, and I thank you for that. Quite a bunch of your family has always kept in touch with me. That's really dope. I have LA Sound Control Mob story. I remember back in '95, there was this big function. It was off of Wilcox and somewhere. I don't remember, but it was just every rapper you could possibly imagine. AWOL won. I remember that's where I met him. And we all got on the mic. We all performed that night. And I did Dear Robert. I don't know if anybody remembers. That was when we was inviting artists to come down and show their talent. We were trying to start a label back then. Yeah, that all fell apart after the riots. So kind of our little funding and everything kind of fell through. We had a record company and everything in the studio in Hollywood and Vine. My brother. Wow. Yeah. That's how I kind of met the rest of your family, was through that. I remember Ganja K, man. I was so nervous right before I got on the mic. He passed me a blunt. I gotta tell it. He passed me a blunt. He was like, hit this. And I was like, I probably talked it twice. I couldn't remember half my lines online. I remember, dang, that's funny. Dang. Shout out. Rest in peace. Ganja K. Let's see. Abstract. When last time we done some? Well, I mean, we spent a lot of years doing music together. Yeah. You know, people eventually grow apart in just different circles and stuff. And he's exploring his avenues of things that people he come in contact with. Me, I've always been the nest of where I got artists coming around me. You know, and some leave the hive and some stay. True. And you know, and it's just people grow into just different interests and stuff. And for sure. Maybe one day we'll make something again. Definitely. I definitely talked to Ab. Shout out Abstract. There's a track, I don't know when this recorded, but the title was Are You Online? I think it was a 90s track with you and the Alien Nation crew. Did you remember? Yeah. Thanks, Pascal. That's when Aliens were signed to Palace Records, and I went to New York. I had a deal too with them with Palace Records,
Dang,
And
what years is this?
This is 93. I left and I was living with Supernatural in New York.
Wow. Okay,
And,
so that's how. Okay.
And this is right before I had Little Jimmy, my first son.
Shout out Lil
That was the
Jimmy.
only reason I came back to LA, because I had a new baby. So I had to come back here, and then the record company fell apart while I was here. So that kind of went away, and the other avenues came in.
Wow.
But I had a deal with Palace with it. And then, so anyway, Alien Nation was the main group of that. We was doing an album out there. And we were working in Jimi Hendrix studio, Electric Lady.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I bet the sound coming out of there was nuts.
It was the most incredible studio I've ever been in. And to this day, people die to get in that studio today.
This man is so humble. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure a lot of the heads that are out here asking questions already know your discography. But for those who don't know, he used to be, all of the people we acknowledge today as part of the West Coast hip hop scene. Fatjack was at the base of that as well, like what DJ Pooh, right?
Yeah, DJ Pooh started in my garage on turntables, and we all was part from a little family of DJ crews, all of us, and Sir Jinx was part of that. Sir Jinx was at my house, and we were battling, and I was cutting it up, and then he's like, "My cousin to beat you, my cousin to beat you," and he brings Dre to my house, and we're gonna battle.
Dr. Dre?
Yeah, Dre comes over and she said, "You want to battle?" But I didn't have 1200, so I had a Caillou turntables, and Dre was like, I only mix on 12s. You got to come to Eve After Dark and we'll battle. Short, long story after that, because me and him is cool, we're not like assholes. We became friends, and we wound up DJing at Skateland together and stuff like that. We have a little history.
I heard you mention Skateland in another interview.
Skateland
was
the music.
spot.
We did the music speaker setup and amps and stuff for the wrecking crew.
Did you meet Coolio back then?
Yeah. Way back. All those guys, we all was around.
So y'all always like junior high, high school?
No. We was all out of school. This is college? 84, 85.
Oh.
Let me see. 84. I'm terrible with dates, but I think I was out of high school. Yeah, I was out of high school. I got out in 83.
Okay.
So this is 84, 85. We was on Skateland and Sherman Oaks Square, the skating ring system. Okay. But Dre, at one time, something happened with the record crew when they came back from London. His records got caught up in customs or something like that. So Alonzo sent him to my house to get my records for him to use mine to DJ. It's because our crates were similar. I used to get my records from Steve Yano, Rhodium Swap Meet. So did Dre.
Wow, I ain't heard that name in a long time.
And the record pool in Crenshaw. So he knew my doubles was similar to theirs. So it worked out. He came to pick me up in an RX-7. The Burgundy RX-7. And I remember then I didn't make beats. Then I just DJ'd. He'd be playing his beats from the Juno keyboard or whatever, the computer beats on the car. And I was just listening like, oh, how you make that? I could never even understand how he made it, because I wasn't into producing then. I was just DJing and scratching. That's all I cared about, collecting records. But way back then, Dre was doing production. Of course, he came out with Surgery, right after that. And then things that do Cabbage Patch and a whole bunch of other things. And it grew and grew and grew, NWA and so on and so on.
And Uncle Jam's Army and all of that.
Roger Clayton. And they used to hire us to do the lunch dances at all the high schools and stuff.
Dope.
And either Egyptian Lover would come or Bobcat. And then they had a few DJs. Then Pooh became the newest hot DJ out of them. At that crew, and Vince, he had a crew, Uncle Jam's Army, that was, and I think Battle Cat was younger back then, but I think he started coming up around through the wrecking crew scene part after Dre and them left. But we all come from that family.
That's deep. That's deep because I wish I would have had all this knowledge back then when I was around Battle Cat and you and everybody. I was just friends with like D-Don and Trinell, shout out. Those are his like cousins. And I used to just come to they used to have these big old block parties. Yeah. And he'd be all of y'all, man. I just didn't know. But it's all good. I'm glad everybody's still around to tell their stories and stuff. Let's see. I also wanted to mention this, everybody. Back in like the early mid-90s, LA Sound Control Mob used to distribute their music all through the South. Yeah.
That's because we did the electronic music. Especially Slip. I was more a student then, because when it switched from DJing to making beats, Slip was headlining in that, and he came up learning from DJ Unknown
Mm-hmm.
and Lonzo. And he mainly unknown by his side, this knowledge in him and stuff. And then his natural talent just blew up in that electronic, what they did the X-Men series of beats, just like Planet Rock type stuff.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, then they started going more like New York style hip hop, a little West Coast mixed with it, and then the birth of CMW and all that, you know.
Compton's Most Wanted, y'all. MC8, chill.
And when they would be on tour, I would be at Slip's house learning my craft, working on this, because he had more equipment than me at that time. Then I started getting mines up after The Good Life and Project Blowed. I started getting little record deal stuff going, and I started getting my equipment up. And then the difference between me and Slip is Slip was gangster and funky. I was jazzy, but I still had the gangster underneath it, the drums.
Definitely.
So I had a little elements of what I learned from him, and I just put jazz over top more so than the funky sample or funk samples, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it all too, because I did that too. Because to me, all that is skating music. We used to skate at Rosecrans Skating.
That's right.
I come from that funk, you know.
No, I had big cousins. So even though I'm a little younger than y'all, my big cousins used to take me. I'm from Chicago, and we were more into the house scene in Chicago.
Music,
but I moved.
Music.
Yes, I'm into
that. That stuff.
That's still kind of my foundation of certain elements of my music. The church, the Church of God in Christ is real heavy in Chicago.
Yeah,
and then they blended with the house.
In. I have a whole bunch of recordings from my house music from the '80s, and it's a lot of. Sounds like church, but the music is bumping.
It's crazy.
It's soulful and bumping.
It's really amazing how they blend like church music mixed in with disco.
Yeah,
it's kind of basically it. And then you do like African dance to it. It's really wild.
It sounds like Afrobeat. Yeah.
He says, "Bro, why getting the track "Fruit Don't Fall" from Micah so long to release?" By the way, it's my favorite song.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one of my favorites too. That came through a publishing deal Micah had with BMI. And when we were working on that album, that studio, I think that studio fell apart, whatever, how the company was moving, and they moved all the reels and everything. And we don't know what the reels are to this day, and never got a chance to mix that stuff. Everything everybody ever heard come from a DAT or a cassette that we had. I think Mike had, because I had to go back in the studio and we were about to start mixing the stuff we recorded. Those reels disappeared off the face of the earth.
That's bananas.
So they moved the studio. Nothing was organized.
Somebody got that. Somebody. I mean,
it's a bunch of artists. You got this is BMI studio. This is up. This was up Universal Studios.
I remember that. I've dropped y'all off before. I've dropped y'all off there before.
That's why the record never came out. And the only recordings on YouTube come from a cassette or something.
Wow.
I have the instrumentals on a drum machine, but Mike would have to recreate them again. And Mike doesn't do anything twice, like the same.
Aretha Franklin with
what's recording that's what you got. And he can re-perform it, but he's going to add something different to even the performance, because he doesn't repeat things, you know. And so that recording has been done, is gone, and it's some beautiful shit that never got put out, right, you know.
I just realized I haven't listened to that song in a long time.
Yeah, some of my favorites.
Don't fall too far from the tree.
All that stuff.
That's the joint right there. How did you meet the Freestyle Fellowship? How did you meet those cats?
When I moved back to LA, I was living in Azusa. Then when we had our studio in Hollywood and Vine, I was living in Inglewood. And Abstract and Zulu took me to the Good Life.
Okay.
And so did Minister Too Bad, who came with me from Azusa too. He already was going there because he knew Mike. They called him Microphone Mike at the time. So everybody kept talking about the Good Life. You got to come to the Good Life. You got to come to the Good Life. I went to the African marketplace with Ab and Zulu, and we ran into Micah. And Ab was saying, "This is producer, it's Fatjack, blah, blah." And Micah was like, "Oh, we already got plenty of producers. We good." And then we met back up at the Good Life later when I started playing my beats along when you get your beats to Fish and them play. Then he started respecting, like, oh, they want to know more about what's up. But my story with AC, I knew AC 10 years before the Good Life. He came to my house, my interview with my brother. We put an ad in the paper looking for rappers. He showed up in hard time.
What was he like, 12?
He was still in high school. He came to my house. He was still AC alone. This is before they formed Freestyle Fellowship. And he came to my house and auditioned. But we had the equipment in the back, and we wanted to show nobody. We wanted to get robbed. So we didn't show the artist the equipment unless they lived me down. he thought we was lying about having the stuff, so he never came back.
Oh,
Ran into him at the Good Life when Ab tried to introduce me to him, and he looked at me. I said, I know you. He said, you Fatjack? I said, AC? I told my brother, I said, that's AC Lawrence, the kid that came to our house 10 years ago. And he was like, so you from the fellowship? Okay, yeah. And I told Ab, I know this dude right here.
That's funny.
You know, so that we have a crazy. We talk about that from time to time.
That's funny. Shout out everybody. Shout out AC and Ab and all of y'all.
But we became friends at the Good Life though.
He said, okay, Pascal, will you one day put out in Bandcamp the Fruit Don't Fall instrumental that will be Bananas?
I'll probably do that. Just you speaking it up right now. I have to bring it up and then touch it up on folks.
Shout out Pascal. Thank you for anybody else out there. Y'all,
didn't think about that, but I do have it on my 3000 MPC. Yeah.
That would be really dope. That'd be very exclusive. You know,
it's one of the older drum machines I don't really mess with no more, but I have all the files and hard drives.
Do you need to upload them and put them online?
No. I mean, I put them out the way I put my other stuff out. You know, I put everything out through Alpha Pub Records.
Oh, shout out Alpha Pub.
Yeah. I got instrumental albums out right now.
Oh, right on.
One is called Virgo, another one's called With These Hands. Alpha Pub. You got all streaming sources or buying music that's on there.
He said, "Wow, I'm excited." All right, thank you, Pascal. That is true, Fatjack. I did actually use a Virgo promo. That picture is hard.
Thank you. That's the album from a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's a new one out now called With These Hands.
With These Hands. Go check that out, y'all. With These Hands. Woo. Oh, we're both Virgos, by the way.
That's true.
So,
yes.
You know.
That's true. I remember that.
You know, it's perfection right here. It's cracking. With humility. One of the most humble people I ever met in the music game. Let's see. Ooh, Alonzo, Wrecking Crew. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there was this clip I saw that you mentioned, Volume 10, in regard to, I think it was like some type of styling or something. I think, oh, yeah, that's the story that's that amazing story that I've heard throughout the years, and you actually talked about in an interview with the Wu-Tang.
Okay, now RKA told me that story.
Oh, okay.
He was on tour with him.
Okay.
And
Dino actually told me this story.
So they were somewhere where it's real cold or somewhere. It was just somewhere they was at. And on stage, RK used to go smoke blunts with them. Dino didn't really kick it with him like that. He would stand off, you know, but RK would get, what's up with y'all niggas doing? You know, he gonna get in their business and got to know him a little bit. And they were tripping off 10 style. They was tripping off. Now, Old Dirty, he was like he was, where we hear him recorded, but he came to the West Coast and it's like, damn, who is this dude? He kind of wild like me. You know, I know that's what went through his head. If they hear each other, they had to trip off each other.
Yeah, they did kind of.
RK told me they did trip off each other. Like, yo, this dude, they, you know, and
that would have been a stupid song if they ever would have just done a song together.
And I think they inspired each other to keep going.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right about that. Shout out
with you, because they're the two that's similar in
y'all.
Yeah, in the history, yeah.
And you know, I hung out with ODB for a little half a moment. We were at the Gavin, Coolio, King T, Paul Stewart.
I was there.
Me.
I was out there.
I flew. They took me. It was me, Coolio, Paul Stewart.
I remember when you was with him.
Razzcast.
Yeah.
We all flew down together.
I was down there with Regina King and Ab and all that.
I bumped into y'all. Yeah. We hung out. Yeah. And Old Dirty Bastard. So we were there was this club everybody went to, and he was there, and I was just standing dancing on the dance floor by myself or whatever. And then all of a sudden he was like standing dancing, like copying my moves. I don't know. We got to talking. He took me back with him, and I met all of them. Method Man, You God, all of this. And I was just listening to their conversation. I was just like a bug on the wall, and I was really impressed with their intellect.
Yeah.
And then when it was time for them to perform, they got on, and I was standing on stage, and you could see Coolio and all them like, get your ass off the stage. Get your ass off the stage. So I got off the stage, but that was a heck of an experience. Yeah. And then seeing a couple years later in '97, actually, ODB was in front of the House of Blues. Yeah. And me and homegirl Erica, he was dirty and not taken care of. He had like braids that needed to be rebraided.
That was part of his image.
I mean, I guess, but I almost was gonna grab him up and push him in my car and take him to my girl Jadid house so she could rebraid his hair and we could give him a bath. That's how I felt. I really wanted to do that, but I'm glad I didn't. And you know, he had like a $20,000 check in his pocket. He was just like, "Hey, you know where I could cash this?" And I told him about a check, the 24-hour check cashing. I don't know if Hollywood people know there's a 24-hour check cashing place that used to be the only one open on Vine and like Hollywood Boulevard, because a lot of no, it was a real check cashing place, and only like a lot of artist types would have checks like that, and they'd go cash them like 3 in the morning.
There's liquor stores that cash checks, and I think a lot of them deal with people like that.
Yeah, they did too. But I'm just glad I didn't get caught up, because I think some chicks actually did get caught up and they got kidnapping charges for old dirty bastard. They probably wanted to give him a bath too. But anyway. Rest in peace, ODB. Let's see what else do I want to ask you. Okay, so yeah, you brought out Virgo. You about to be traveling on that? What's going on?
No, because you know I'm working at the airport these days. I'm 57 years old.
That don't mean nothing. What Rolling Stone?
There's more to that story. I have to build my Social Security so I get ready to retire, to have my income coming in right. I can't just do hip hop all the way through and just music money just stop, because the money comes and goes in hip hop. I lived 30 years off hip hop, and I did my time. I'm still here, still got a studio, still doing music.
Your beats are still incredible.
It's not my everyday thing now, like it was when I was younger. You know, that's how I ate and raised my kids on hip hop. But in the age I am now, I'm married again. I'm working and we're working to build for us to have a comfortable retirement. I'll be retiring in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, between me and my wife, we'll be straight. You know,
isn't that deep? Yo, that's deep how they do us in hip hop, straight up. You got to have a different bread.
I still get royalties for certain things, but it's just, I mean, it ain't enough to do it without working, you know, without a job.
That's true. I've heard that from pretty much every artist that I've interviewed.
But I put in 30 years of hip hop without it, and just touring, DJing, and selling beats in studio sessions. Did that for 30 years.
That's super responsible sounding. Yeah,
it was in my late 40s when I had to kind of change over into the metrics.
I hear that. I hear that. Has that changed on your creativity, or has just changed your amount of time with it? You've mastered it at this point.
Well, before this music, I was an orchid man when I first left my parents' house at 18, 19, and I was married young, and I had a real job. So I knew about clocking in and clocking out, and I knew about that, even though for that years I went by in hip hop, when it was time to get back in the work world, I knew the game. I knew how to communicate with what normal people. They ain't talking about no music. It's about just what we doing out here. And I got a dope job. I work at the airport, aircraft fueler and ground equipment fueler. I drive a truck and sell fuel. It ain't nothing. You know, I don't lift nothing. It's just time consuming.
That's dope.
I ain't doing that. But yeah, it takes away from my but I think about shit all day in my truck. And then when I get home, I execute it. And on my days off, I make beats.
That's
and
dope.
And
that's dope. I'm trying to find the balance. I'm working, you know, teaching.
It's hard. I miss it. Sometimes I cry to her, can I retire now so I can do music? She ain't giving up that money.
Look, y'all out there, anybody, when y'all hear this, because we got a big following in Germany and Egypt, Japan, and India. I'm talking about this podcast. Big following. We're working on it. Russia. Y'all hear this, man? This is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We need all these amazing historical West Coast legends out there working, even if it's online. Like, you know, we could set up a little something and do an online little something. You know what I'm saying? Let's make that happen. Does anyone have any questions out there? You guys have any questions for Fatjack out here? Right, live and direct. I see you wearing a Tribe shirt. R.I.P. True Goy. Same birthday. Yeah, same birthday as me. September 21st. That's crazy.
Changed my life too.
Yeah. I had a chance to work with them as well, y'all. I worked with De La Soul and Redman on a video called Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm in that video. Let me see. Is there any more questions? I think that's about it. That's it. That's pretty much it, unless you guys have questions. I didn't want to hold them up too long.
I'm on vacation.
I do long podcasts for those of us who have insomnia and be up all night, or, you know, when you drive and go to bed, or, you know, when you have nothing else to do. But for this one, I really want you guys to just see the man in action, see what he's talking about, support his art, go check out Fatjack's music. He's on all platforms.
Apple Pup Records.
That's right. And I didn't want to make this a super long one because I want y'all to really like listen to this and listen to it all the way through and stuff. So that's it. Did you have any last words or anything?
No, just good. It's good to see you doing your thing and evolving in different things in this movement of the world we live in.
Right on.
You as an MC, you're a school teacher.
I is.
You're a
I'm a
journalist
mommy
now.
too. I'm a mom.
Yeah, mom.
He's known me since before I even thought about having children. He's
true.
known me forever.
He was in college.
I was. Cal State Long Beach.
Cal State, yeah.
Frequency, Planet TV says royal respects to one of the West Coast beat pioneers. That is so true.
Thank you.
That's what? Peace and blessings. Big up by Mighty Mike. That's right. Wow, man. That just touched me when you said that frequency, because what really pushes this podcast is I did do one of Coolio's last interviews.
Oh, wow.
And we were supposed to connect. We were supposed to get together like this, and we did the first interview, and then we didn't get to doing the last one. And I'm inspired to keep it pushing and interview all the homies, just so we can, have documentation, just another documentation, but another documentation of where we are and who we are today. For those of us who remember or don't even, but need to remember a lot of these artists from the West. Also, man, I really can't wait to have everybody really understand how much of it, the East Coast is part of of course, bigger foundations of hip hop, but the West Coast artists have absolutely had such an influence on the rest of the artists around the country and around the world.
The world knows that. They know.
I don't know, man. I mean, like I always say, I didn't understand how much Biggie really studied King T to listen to old King T. And I was like, I thought it was Biggie.
Well, he mentioned it, but it took people to go back to listen to King T and go, oh, shit.
That is Biggie.
You know what I'm saying? And, you'd be surprised what cassette somebody had in their Walkman.
Biggie said that. Biggie actually said he was majorly influenced by King T. Shout out King T. But not just King T. People always have that one about Bone, right? Yeah. Bone being influenced and about all of the South rappers. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm hold you up, Fatjack, but I had to mention this. So when LA Sound Control Mob was sending out them tapes down south, I specifically remember a lot of the people that was rapping on those tapes was doing the blah 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 stuff. And then
when they were heard on the Project Blow stuff.
The Project Blow, I'm telling you, the South studied the Project Blow, Sector 21310.
Still to this day, people
straight up. That's true. When after Coolio passed, I had people hit me up from Poland that were super dope. Oh my God. But I just, man, just the influence that the West has actually had on the East and Chicago and the South hasn't been recognized enough to me. So thank you for this honor. Family. This is like family anyway. But thank you, and let's see. Big ups to you as well, Queen T, also bringing fire interviews. Oh, thank you. I give thanks to all the homies that are giving me interviews at this point. I'm also bringing a new album.
Okay.
Quit playing. I'm bringing an album. Maybe I'll get Fatjack to put a track on there.
Definitely.
That'd be dope. That would be dope. Look, plug. Social plug.
That's
all right.
Style.
But thank you all. Thank you for watching the Tomeicko Show. We'll be doing this again next week with another wonderful surprise guest. You never know who's tuning in. All right. Well, have a good night. Peace.